Hey guys, so Mikey didn't make a video for this section, so I'll do it for you. We're going to be talking about the equation of a circle, G, GPE, A1. So first off, let's remind ourselves what a circle is. The definition, which you should have in your definitions, is a circle is a set of all points equidistant from a given point called the center. That is equidistant, same distance from a center point. So it's just a set of points going around. That's the same distance from the center. Now, what we haven't talked about is conic sections. There's 4 of them. It's basically the different shapes you can get by slicing a cone with a plane, or 2 cones on top of each other. There's 4 of them. The parabola, you should be familiar with that one from algebra. The circle, if we have a parallel plane to the base of the cone, it's going to make a circle. And then if we aren't parallel, we'll make an ellipse if we go all the way through the cone. And then if we have 2 cones on top of each other and we intersect that twice perpendicularly, that's called a hyperbola. So the primary one we're going to be dealing with is the circle. So let me get the equation of a circle for you. It comes directly from the Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to derive it, but you don't have to. I just want you to be able to apply it and understand exactly what it means. So let's say we have a circle here. Center is C. The coordinates are some x, y values. We'll call them h and k. That's what we call the center of a circle's coordinates, h and k. And then there's some point on the circle. Let's call it x, y for the x coordinate and the y coordinate. Well, the distance horizontally is your ending point minus your starting point. So we're ending up at x. We're starting at h, so it's x minus h for this distance here. The distance vertically, we're ending at y, starting at k, so it's y minus k. And if we look at this, we know that this right here is our radius of our circle. We're going to call that r. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to plug these, the horizontal distance, this leg, and this leg, and our hypotenuse into the Pythagorean theorem. So it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, first leg squared, second leg squared, a squared, b squared, equals c squared, which in our case will be r squared. This is like our a and our b and our c for the Pythagorean theorem. This is the equation of a circle. So this is what we're going to use. We know that our center point is this coordinate right here, hk. Notice though, the signs are different. This x minus h. This x minus h, then your point is h. So if this is a x minus 4, we put a 4 right here. If it's x plus 4, a negative makes a positive, so it'd be a negative 4. We'll get to some examples in a minute. So our center is hk. And notice over here, r is squared. So we're going to have to take the square root of that in order to find out what r is. And our radius is going to be r. So that's the equation of a circle. And here's what I need you to know from it. I need you to know the equation, that the center is this and this, the radius is that. Make sure you square root that, make sure you watch the signs on these. So for your assignment, I decided to kind of do it in Google Slides to make everybody's lives a little easier. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to assign you a Google slide. It's not going to be long, just a few questions. The main reason I use this was for the graphing, because I don't know who has a printer, who has graph paper, who has what. So here I figured I could use a Google slide and you just drag and drop what you need to drag and drop. You can also insert text boxes and other shapes. I did make this a background so you can't edit it. Please don't change the background because you won't be able to do the problems. So here's my first problem. Determine the center and radius of the given circles. Here's A, wants the center and the radius. So I'm looking at it, it's x minus 7 squared, y plus 10 squared. So that means my x coordinate of my center, I'm just going to click and make a text box, 37. Now notice my text box is all crazy looking, that doesn't matter. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it can be floating up there, or you can play around with it if you really want to. maybe here. And I'm going to click text box again, and you can make a nicer text box this time. And it's plus 10. That means negative 10 is my y coordinate. Remember, you got to change the signs here because it's our formula is minus h and minus k. So that's always going to be the opposite sign. This is a minus 7. That means our coordinate is 7. Minus 10, our coordinate is, or plus 10, our coordinate is negative 10. And then 81. Well, if you don't know that 9 squared is 81, you can grab a calculator. Go back to this mode. And you can do square root of 81. 9. If you don't have a calculator, take your phone. Let's see if I can get this here. Go to your calculator on your phone, not through the shortcut menu because it won't work that way. But if you pull up your calculator, let's see, and you turn it sideways, you'll see it has all these extra buttons, including the square root right there. So I could do, I could type in 81. It's reversed. I'm terribly sorry about that. You could type in 81 and then hit this square root button. It'll give you 9. So pretend you're looking in a mirror. If you, it's a 9. If you don't trust me, it's a 9. See, my shirt reversed. And less Slayer. Anyway, so your phone can do square roots and other arithmetic operations. The radius is 9. There we go. And again, I don't need it to be perfect. I will be checking these and giving you feedback. So let's say you actually put a negative 7 and a positive 10. I'm like, okay, don't forget, you got to change the signs whenever you're using this formula. Let's look at this one. See how it's kind of not in the right order? Well, it's basically we just need to take this and pretend it's over here. So my center point, it's still going to be negative 3. I'm going to type that in right here. Negative 3. Look, there it is, nice and neat. Plus y squared though. It's just a y squared. What do we do? What is it? What's adding or subtracting to it? Nothing. What number's nothing? 0. So that makes this coordinate 0. And then for the radius, we actually have to look over here because it's not in the right order for some reason. It doesn't really matter. You can just take a half a second and think. If you remember the symmetric property of equality, this would be the same thing. I guess I'll go ahead and write it over here. Symmetric property of equality would tell us that this is the same as that. So we can see it's equal to 100. 100 is r squared. Square root of 100 is 10 if you don't know that. 10. There may be a way to draw in here. I'm not sure. I didn't play around with it too terribly much. If someone figures it out, feel free to let me know and I'll be very thankful. Oh, I don't know why that keeps happening, but let's do this anyway. Last one of these. So the x coordinate is going to be 9, y coordinate is negative 2, square root of 1 is 1. So I'm going to plot those on here. 9, negative 2, and I'm just, this box, this T in it, that's the text box. That's what I'm clicking every time. And 1. And that's it for this problem. So you just do that and you click on the next slide. Now on this one, I kind of already started it for you because of the superscript. Now you can easily do a superscript on here, but to save everybody some headache, I went ahead and did it for you. So you just kind of click in there, make sure your cursor is in those parentheses. You can use your arrow keys if you need to move around. And the equation of a circle. Let's look back at what it looks like in general. X minus h. So for circle A, it's going to be x minus or plus, we don't know yet, the x-coordinate is 0. So if you look on your graph, those numbers are entirely illegible, but you can count. Most of you can anyway. If we count, we're at 0. Remember, this is the origin, 0, 0. We're not going anywhere, so it's just x squared. So leave it like that. You could take the parentheses off if you really want to. It doesn't matter. The y-coordinate, though, that's -1 because we went down 1. Remember, this is positives. This is positives. These are x and y positive, x negative, y positive. Hopefully you remember how the Cartesian plane works. If you don't, these are both negative here, positive x, negative y here. Kind of goes in a circle like this. So y, and then it's a -1, so I need to make that +1. And that's what you type, y + 1. Now to get the radius, well, the radius, if you remember, is the distance from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. Notice it has these dots here. That's to help you count. 1, 2, 3. So the radius is 3, which means this would equal 3 squared. So I'm just going to put 9. 3 times 3 is 9. That's for circle A. For circle B over here, our x-coordinate is, I think that's -7. Let me count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So it's -7, so that means x plus 7 is what I need. Always changing those signs. Then we're going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We went up 5. That means we need to put y - 5. And then if we count from here, this dot to that dot, that's 1, 2. 2 squared is 4. Now 43, 4. And that's it for that one. Listen over here. We've got two circles A and B. Let's look at A first. That's 2 on the x, 3 on the y. So that's going to be x - 2, y - 3. So remember, we always change the signs. 1, 2 for the x, 1, 2, 3 for the y. Now, to get the radius, we're going to count. I'm just going to count 3, 6, 7. 7 times 7 is 49. Lastly, circle B here. So I didn't go anywhere on the y's, but I did go x left. Let's see if I can count. I think that's -7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So x plus 7 because it's -7 for the coordinate. And then just y because we didn't go up or down on the y for the y coordinate. We're going to say y there. And the radius, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 6 is 36. That's it for this one. So these are the different types you'll have. I'll give you a couple of each. Not going to try and kill you here. Determine the equation of circle C. Okay, it has a radius of 1 and our center is 5, -1. So this is how we label a point, the letter C, which indicates circle C because we name a circle by its center. And then its coordinates. X is 5, y is -1. That's going to be x - 5, y + 1, and the radius is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. That's it. Okay, so now we have 0, -3 for our center. So I'm going to leave that as x. It's going to be y + 3. Again, just reiterate this one more time. We're changing the signs here. It's y - k. It's y minus what? 3. So it needs to be -3. It needs to be y minus -3. Y minus a -3. Two negatives make a positive. That's why it's y + 3. and then 2.5 squared. Well, I'm going to grab my calculator again. 2.5, and if you don't know where your square button is, you can just do times 2.5, and SD 6.25. Give it just like that. I don't need a fraction, I don't need anything fancy. Give it to me as easy as you can. All right, this is going to be x plus 9, y minus 1. Square root of 14 squared. Squaring a square root undoes it. That's just going to be 14. Oops, text box wasn't long enough. I'll make them longer for you guys. And that's it. That's all it is to those problems. If you take the square root of 14 on your calculator and square it, it'll give you 14 back. So nothing there. For the graphing, here we go. So the directions say graph the following. My face is kind of in the way, sorry. And here's the equation. So what I want you to do is just go ahead and make yourself a note. What is the center? It's going to be 3, negative 2. What's the radius? Why is it capitalized? It's equal to 4, but that's the radius squared. Don't forget, that's already squared, so we need to square root that. So square root of 4 is 2. So here's what I want you to do. Notice you have 5 dots, 1 blue, 4 red. I want you to drag and drop the blue dot onto the center. So at 3, negative 2, 3, negative 2. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you use your arrows, it'll bounce around a lot, but if you use shift in the arrows, you can get it pretty nice. But again, it's still pretty off, so I'm gonna do that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just stick it on there however you can do it. Radius is 2, so I'm gonna count 2 units up, 2 units to the right, 2 units down, and 2 units to the left. That's where I'm gonna put my red dot. Again, I don't expect it to be perfect, not at all. Now you might be saying that's not a circle. You're right, it's not a circle. So look up here. Here's the shape button. Go to shapes, and then your circle. So my computer just froze. There we go. Oops, I have to redo it because my computer froze. Sorry. Click it once, and it should give you this. Okay, now we're good. Now here's what I'd suggest doing. It's going to be really hard if you try and guess where it's going to go from here. So you're going to make the right size circle and then move it. My radius is 2, my diameter is 4. So what I'd suggest doing is coming up here to 4 and just dragging down. But if you notice, it doesn't make a circle unless you hold Shift and Command for me. For you Windows users, so Shift Command for Mac users. Windows users, it would probably either Shift Alt or Shift Control you hold down while making your circle. One of those combinations of those 3 keys is going to give you a perfect circle, much as it can be. Now, I personally don't like my circle all filled in, so I'm going to click on this fill color option, put transparent. I also like my circle thicker, so I'm going to put that. Do you have to? Not at all. Then I'm going to drag it and drop it where it goes. It should line up nicely with those dots. Boom, there's my circle. All right, so again, ideally, you do this on paper, you know, draw the dots and put the circle around, and your circle might look kind of like an egg, but that's okay. But for our purposes, this will have to do. Same thing here. Again, please write down your center. It's going to be 0, 5 on this one. And I'll probably stick some extra directions in there somewhere, like maybe right here. This is just kind of a rough draft. I was seeing if I could actually do this. And my radius, R, it's equal to 25. That's R squared, so R is 5. And if you have a capital R, it's fine. That's technically incorrect, so I'm going to put it as a lowercase r. There we go. But if I think it automatically capitalizes it, so it's fine. As long as you know what you're doing, that's perfectly fine by me. 0, 5, that's why I'm dragging my blue one. 0, 5, right about here. And again, I'm gonna just shift and wiggle that thing around a little bit. That'll work for me. R is 5, so I'm gonna count. 5 units this way, about right there. 5 units that way, about right there. 5 units below, and then 5 units above. Close enough. And look, my dots aren't even perfect at all. Perfectly fine. Just get them close. Then we're going to put our circle in there. Just click it once. Now R is 5, which means I need a diameter of 10. So I'm going to start up here at 10. I'm going to start to the left of 10 to make sure I don't go off the page. And again, I'm going to hold Shift and Command for Mac users. Probably Shift and Control for Windows users, maybe Shift and Alt. Right there, make that transparent just for my sanity. Make it thicker. You can also play around with the color if you want to. It's all good to me. It's your work. Make it how you want to. There it is. And notice my circle's a little low, so I'm going to plop that up there a little bit. And there we go. That's how, this is just blank one. That's how you would do your lesson. That's about what it's going to look like for the first lesson. I'll make 2 or 3 a week. I'm not trying to kill you here. I would appreciate it if you do them and try your best. Make sure everybody's in there. If you have a friend that's having some troubles, help them out. Post questions or comments on the stream. And you can just go to my YouTube channel and make comments there too if you need to. And that's about it, guys. Have a good day.